Hey guys, so Fastlane is done, so we're officially on the road to Wrestlemania in a couple of weeks. So opinions of Fastlane, I thought the pay-per-view was not that bad. I mean, the main event was definitely the match of the night, in my opinion. Roman Reigns against Daniel Bryan. I kind of figured that they were going to do a triple threat match at WrestleMania between like Edge, Daniel Bryan, and Roman Reigns for the Universal title. I felt like with like SmackDown, I felt like that's what was how they were building towards the pay per view and or the main event, and just the way just the way the things his interaction, Daniel Bryan's interactions with Edge and all that. I mean, just for them to drop it just wouldn't make any sense because like who would Daniel Bryan face at WrestleMania? I mean, I would say, like, let's say example, like I thought maybe like Seth Rollins or something would come down and interfere, and that would set up a match with him and that person. Seth Rollins looks like he's going to be facing Cesaro at WrestleMania, but I definitely think it's a good idea for Daniel Bryan. It kind of reminds me of a couple years ago for WrestleMania 30 when Daniel Bryan was inserted into the main event between Randy Orton and Batista. So this is kind of like the same, kind of like the same thing where you have the established, you have like, Roman Reigns being kind of like the Randy Orton character, and Edge, the returning veteran, kind of like Batista, and you got Daniel Bryan, being put into that picture. But man, it was a really good match, and I guess we saw like Edge turning heel. I guess at the end when when you attack Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns towards the end and everything, he kind of like got really mad and he like walked out. I don't know if that's gonna be a full blown like heel turn. I know Edge is kind of was better as a heel in his career than a babyface, so we'll see where that leads on SmackDown. Um, but I know they said, like, I read that this was kind of in the works since February of putting Daniel Bryan in that in the title picture, and I can understand that just the way the writing was and the way the storylines were developing on SmackDown, that it kind of made sense. And I figured at last night they would figure out a way or do a way that either Daniel Bryan gets robbed at the end or something, but somehow he's able to get into that match at WrestleMania. Will Daniel Bryan win? I think the crowd's going to be 100% behind him, and I think, yeah. I mean, I would put the title on him, but we'll see what happens. Other matches, a lot of people complained that we didn't get they advertised Braun Strowman and Shane McMahon. I knew that was going to pretty much not take place. I figured that was going to take place because they were going to be saving that for WrestleMania. So they had to figure out a way to make that match not happen. And so they have like Shane McMahon pretending to get a knee injury, and then he puts Elias into the match. And look at what happened to Elias. I remember when he was like a top heel, and now he's being like kind of like, I don't want to call him a jobber, but like, I mean, eventually, hopefully, he'll get he'll get a push again down the road. But it looks like we're gonna get Braun Strowman and Shane McMahon at WrestleMania. A feud that I don't really understand. It's like I don't know why they put those two together, but we'll see what happens. Finally saw the return of the Fiend last night. It was Randy Orton against Alexa Bliss. And, the Fiend comes out from the bottom of the ring, and he's got like this new, his mask is all burnt and stuff, and the skin. So finally, I mean, I guess that's going to set up, Bray Wyatt, or I'm sorry, the Fiend against Randy Orton at WrestleMania. I don't know. It's kind of like we were kind of waiting for a very long time for the Fiend to come back. I think originally we thought it was going to be the Royal Rumble. That didn't happen, and then we were Elimination Chamber. So this was the last stop for that to happen. So well, I guess we'll see on Raw tonight if the Fiend will be there. I'm assuming that he would probably make an appearance. Um, again, I'm not really a big fan of the Fiend. I guess I just feel that it's really really hard to book him going forward. I guess because like he's originally when he was a heel, that was different. But now as a baby face, like after Randy Orton, who are you gonna book him with? That's the problem. Like, are you gonna turn him heel again, and then he can face uh, Drew McIntyre, or you keep him heel and you face Bobby Lashley. I feel like he's one dimensional, and I feel like the writers do not know how to book him, and that's why there's like long periods where you don't see Bray Wyatt or the Fiend because they don't know what to do with him, unfortunately. But we'll see. He'll be facing Randy Orton at WrestleMania and finally end that feud. Sometimes when feuds are going on for a very long time, sometimes it's good to have a long, drawn out feud. And sometimes, a drawn out feud, people will be like, I really don't care anymore. Just have the match and get it over with. So we'll see. I'm pretty sure it'll probably be like a gimmick match or something at WrestleMania, Last Man Standing, or an Inferno match or something. I don't know, but we'll see. We'll see with that. Other matches we saw Seth Rollins defeat Nakamura. Again, I guess they're saving it. We're gonna have Cesaro and Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. It's good for Cesaro. He's going to get this push. Kind of bad for Seth because I feel like he's kind of like went down the card. Here this guy, was it like 2-3 years ago? He was in the main event with Brock Lesnar. He was like the top baby face. And man, they killed his character. They definitely killed it. It was the whole Bray Wyatt thing after Hell in a Cell. Man, that's what killed him. And he was never able to recover. And he's doing the Messiah character. And I'm glad he's got his old music back, but that I was thinking when he was away for like that couple of weeks or the month, I thought when he made his return, I thought he would be the old Seth Rollins and they would make him a baby face. But I guess they're looking at the future and they're saying like they're trying to get like a Cesaro over as a one of the top baby faces. So I guess they're gonna use Seth for that. Other matches for WrestleMania. So we got the New Day. They won the tag titles last week. Basically, it's like we have no plans for Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander. You're dropping the titles, and who knows what you guys are going to do at WrestleMania. And people were complaining that they're tired of seeing the New Day as tag team champions and being a tag team. And I agree. I feel that that's drawn out. And I just wanted to see Kofi Kingston as a solo. I mean, he was WWE champion. He was WWE champion a couple years ago, and they did all this time building him up, and now he's just basically back in where he began. I thought he could be like a top guy on Raw, and I don't know. And with Xavier Woods, I mean, they could figure out something for him too. And he's very talented, and I can see him being a heel. So it's against like AJ Styles and AJ Styles' bodyguard. I forgot his name, but I would say probably AJ and will win the tag titles at WrestleMania. That's like the one title he hasn't won in WWE. Other matches. I mean, it looks like Sasha Banks might have turned heel at Fastlane. She got into just kind of like in a shoving match with Bianca Belair and slapped her in the face and kind of walked off, calling her the rookie and stuff. So we'll see what happens with that. It's always good, to have the heel versus the baby face. And I think Sasha Banks is perfect at playing the heel. I mean, I loved when she was with Bayley. Bayley has completely fell off the face of wrestling. Unfortunately, since she lost the title. I mean, I guess you can't always be on top, I guess, but I wish it's too bad they couldn't do something with her, but and she was the the SmackDown Women's Champion for a very long time. Sometimes you just got to move on. But I do prefer Sasha Banks as a heel, we don't know if she's gonna be full blown heel. She might just be be more aggressive for the match. What else you got? Drew McIntyre defeated Sheamus. We kind of knew that was going to happen. I mean, they had their match on Raw and stuff, and we know that Drew McIntyre was going to go on to face Bobby Lashley for the title at WrestleMania. So they were going to have him lose. So it was almost like a guarantee that he was going to win. Now I guess that feud with Sheamus is over. We think. Who knows with tonight? They might have another match. But I mean, it kind of reminds me if his path is kind of like they're trying to redo like last year's WrestleMania, but like the Brock Lesnar character is going to be played by Bobby Lashley. So you have Bobby Lashley going into Mania as a champion, and Drew being the challenger. And but this time when he wins the title, there'll be a crowd, a live crowd there. So I think that's the direction that they're going towards, which is a shame for Bobby Lashley. I wish he would have had a longer title run. I wish there was more of a plan for him. But we'll see. What happens. Anything else that happened on Fastlane? I'm trying to think of any other matches. Apollo Crews and Big E. Looks like that's going to be resolved at WrestleMania. Again, when they made the match at Fastlane, I was kind of just surprised by that. I was like, oh, why don't you just save it for WrestleMania? And they did kind of like a botch ending to it, which wasn't really clear. I mean, I don't know why they didn't have Apollo win. And maybe they didn't want him to win the title, but they could have figured out a way to maybe Apollo wins by disqualification or something, just so Apollo can say, I beat you, and now I'm going to beat you for the title. Or something like that. I mean, I love Apollo Crews. Finally, he's getting that push he deserves. Just look at him. He has a really good look to him. He could wrestle. He's really good on the mic. I mean, for so many years, ever since when they brought him on, when he got to the main roster, he was not used properly. And now he's finally, embracing that heel character. I just love this angle between him and Big E. And in the beginning, I didn't like it. I was like, oh, Big E and Apollo Crews. Apollo Crews is like a jobber. Why would they do that? But after weeks, it kind of works now, and I hope I just resolve this feud at WrestleMania. It's been building for weeks, so hopefully they'll that will happen. And Big E will, again, you won't want the good guy to prevail at the end. So, but Big E will win at WrestleMania. But we'll see what happens. And that is it. So we go to Raw tonight again. We're so close to WrestleMania. How's everybody? I was watching the pay-per-view last night on Peacock. Again, a little disappointing. I mean, I loved the WWE Network. I like watching the old, Nitros and Thunders and stuff. And now I don't think in a couple of days, they're going to be shutting down the WWE Network. And not everything is going to be transferred all at once. I think they said by August they'll have the entire network library on Peacock. But that's a little, a little disappointing that certain old wrestling, those WCW, Nitros, Thunders, even some of the ECW shows are not going to be on the Peacock right now, and like Superstars and all that. For me, one of the things I love about the WWE Network is the classic content. I just the memories, just watching some of those old things. So hopefully, in a couple of weeks, each week they'll add a few more things. But I had no problem watching it on Peacock. No streaming issues. The pay-per-view just played the whole time. I started it at 7:00 and watched. I didn't watch the whole thing on. I mean, I would leave the room and stuff, but no issues at all. So hopefully that's the case for WrestleMania. But we'll see what happens. And it was not a bad show.